Hi, it's Kjaer from SWOOP, and today I'm with Alister Webb from Inosis, who has just written this amazing book called Designing Collaboration. And it's a practical sort of field manual to become better collaborators. And the first thing, Alister, I want to ask you was, what motivated you to write Designing Collaboration?
Okay, look, I think that really it came from the fact that in roles that I've had in the past, collaboration type roles, there's really no roadmap, no manual, nothing you can really work with. There's a lot of written about collaboration, but the sort of hands-on doing it, what you can actually do to really embed collaborative behaviours into what people do. I think that was the main rationale behind this. We didn't see anything we could have done with something that would have helped us, and we thought, well, you know, we have an approach to collaboration. Let's put it into words and get it out there and see if we can help others as well.
That makes sense. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that sometimes, I'm not saying always, but just sometimes this seems to be more technology-led than anything else. Is that a pattern that you may have seen?
Well, absolutely. I think you've hit the nub of it. The conversation usually starts around collaboration tools, and really the focus for us has been to change that conversation so that it starts around collaborative people, getting the behaviours right, so it's not tool dependent. You can have any types of tools there, but if people really don't want to collaborate, or they're not motivated to, or don't know how to, collaboration still won't work if the tool set's there.
Yeah, that's right.
Collaboration tools don't make collaboration happen, that's the behaviours that actually make it happen.
Isn't that funny? Because we see so many organizations where the emphasis is on the tool and not on the practices.
Yeah, well, it usually starts there, doesn't it? It's usually, a decision is made in IT, after a business case is lodged, and with a lot of fanfare, tools are rolled out, and it's like, here are the tools, go ahead and use them and collaborate.
Yeah.
But of course, if you don't have a collaborative culture, people don't know, how to use them or how to really take advantage of them. It really doesn't change much.
No, I can imagine that. So launching this collaboration journey, there's a whole bunch of things that can get in the way of that. I mean, having perfect tools might be one issue, I'm not sure, but I remember you were talking about these collaboration blockers, things that get in the way. So can you outline, so what are those 4 collaboration blockers that you've identified? Yeah,
I think there are 4 big ones that our work has really sort of brought forward to us. The biggest one, I think, is the task focus. This is your task, this is my task, and I just don't have time, I don't have the capacity, I don't have any motivation really to collaborate more widely. As long as I get my task done, then I get the tick and I get my bonus, or I continue to be in my role. There isn't that kind of motivation for that. I think lack of clarity, vision for collaboration. What's the purpose? Purpose is so important in any business initiative, and quite often there just isn't a sense of purpose. Why are we doing this? Well, someone's giving us tools. Okay, well, that's fine, but that's not really enough, to give real purpose. I think the other big one, one of the other big ones, is fear. So it's a strong word, but fear of exposing myself to others, putting myself out there, fear of looking bad if I'm collaborating and I say something that doesn't go down well, fear of saying negative things when really they're the things that need to be brought out, need to be teased out.
Yeah.
So fear is quite a player in that as well.
Yeah.
And then time, I don't have time to collaborate. I just need to do my job. It sort of goes back to the task base, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so
those 4 are the big ones.
The 4 big collaboration blockers.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so once we found out that we actually do want to collaborate, and let's say we are trying to address some of these, we want to address some of these blockers. Now, when reading the book, I was very taken by this sort of 7-step or 7-element framework that you're using, and I guess it serves as a bit of an outline of the content for the book. Can you just walk us through then? What are those 7 steps? Like the secret sauce of getting collaboration right?
Yes. Well, certainly it's we need to start somewhere. We need to have some sort of structure to tackle a collaboration problem. A statement like, well, our people aren't collaborating, has to be broken down in some way. So the framework we use is for that purpose. The first one, and the most important one really, is just giving people permission to collaborate, which is really all about safety and trust. You hear these words a lot in the world of intranet and so on. It's just people feeling safe to collaborate. You need to really give them explicit permission and that can come from a number of different sources. Obviously, that's what we're writing about in the book. But that's one of the big ones. I talked just before about purpose and vision. We call it vision, but really vision equals purpose. It's just giving the tools a really strong purpose. Getting people talking is another one, and I think that's really, really important, because we need to have the conversations flowing. We need to have, relationships and knowledge being shared and moved around. We need that activity to happen through conversations. So it's all about getting people talking. How do you actually do that? How do you get them contributing? Is a really big one.
One of the things that I might just sort of weave in here is that we've done some recent analysis on the we are nuts about numbers in SWOOP, right? We're all about measuring collaboration. And we found out that when people ask questions, like, it's a very effective technique, and you get a lot more engagement, not just the likes, but a lot more people responding. And it's very normal, like we're doing in this conversation. I'm asking you questions, and you asking me, and so forth, and that naturally leads to a conversation. But I think that's a very important point, right, in actually getting that conversation flowing.
It is, and I think that one of the big points in that is that in digital collaboration, in digital workplace collaboration, it's often the comments and the conversation, the comments that follow from the post, that's the conversation, not the actual liking or whatever, not a single post, which is very different from the analog world. So it's the comments, and the longer the conversations run, the more engagement there is, and the more knowledge gets moved around.
Got it.
So absolutely agree with that.
Okay. Now, so that was 3.
Only. Okay. So, of course, the big one really is they're all big in their own way, I guess. But just aligning collaboration with work practices. It's a big one. I think most people talk about how do you actually apply it to the workplace. We have a number of ways, or very specific ways, to actually look at what your collaboration sort of framework is at the time. What we call them collaboration touch points. So we say, okay, who does your team need to collaborate with in order for you to do your job well, or your part of the process properly? And so rather than start with, here are some tools, how do we apply them, we start with what are our collaboration touch points? Who do we have to collaborate with? And how do we have to collaborate with them? And then the final point, definitely the final point, is what tool should we then use to facilitate that particular collaboration touch point.
Got it.
So it's flipping that around a little bit.
Yes, got it. All right.
I'll sort of whiz through the others, if you like, quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
But certainly guidance is an important one. I think what we've, Andrew and I both found in work we did, was that there's very little guidance. There's sometimes a lot of governance, which is what you are not supposed to do, or strict rules to follow. But what people really need in the digital workplace is guidance. I think it's quite a stressful thing for people to be surrounded by all these tools and apps and whatever, and trying to work out how to best use them. So guidance is a really important aspect, and we need to help them rather than tell them what to do. So guidance is a big part of this, and we have some ways of actually contributing to that.
And is that guidance on the collaboration behaviors, or is it more the when to use what sort of guidance?
Yeah, it starts with when to use what, but it's not. The answer is not when to use what. The answer is to say, okay, these kinds of questions are going to be raised. How do we address them, both from a management point of view and also from a team point of view? We need to have a place where they can go, and we have one of the things we talk about is a what to use when group. Give people a place to go, to vent, to talk about it, to raise the sort of questions that they need to raise, rather than just try to force people. The problem with trying to force people to do something is that there'll always be exceptions. Everyone has an exception. Well, it doesn't apply to us. It's no one's thought about what we do, kind of discussion. So we need to give them a place to have those discussions and air them, and address them in that way.
Got it. All right. Now I lost track. Got we up to, was that 6?
I think it was about 5. It was about 5. Look, we have a very sort of strong element in what we do, which is we separate collaboration into 2 different phases or modes of collaboration.
Yes.
We talk about active and passive collaboration. I won't get into the details here. It's
that's why we have the book.
That's right. So we have the book, and we will have some of that information on the website anyway.
Yes.
Just as a sort of free samples and so on. But the 6th one is, how do you take active collaboration, which is where you're really pushing knowledge out rather than just sucking it off your network, off your people network.
Yes.
Where you actually push knowledge out, where you're building knowledge, you're growing knowledge, and you're looking for solutions that you might not have even thought about.
Yes.
You know, it's a little heading towards innovation.
Yeah.
I mean, that way. So active collaboration is a really strong component
Yep.
of that. So that's one of the 7. And of course, the you know, the chestnut for all of these sort of methodologies, I guess, is how do you measure it?
Yeah.
How do you sort of monitor it over time?
Now, of course,
That's where we go.
That's an interesting point. Of course, something that's very dear to our heart. So,
Of course, and which is fantastic. I think, you know, what you've got is a wonderful product, and it really measures at a very high degree of sophistication what actually is happening in your ESN, enterprise social
now,
network.
so obviously, the thing that I think you've done a marvelous job of in the book is to focus on some of those collaborative behaviors, because what we're measuring in SWOOP is the things that we can actually detect. But what we can't detect from any kind of analytics is whether you been given that permission to collaborate. And I think that's the real sort of synergy, I guess, between when I was reading your book about the kind of things that you're doing and our measurement is how they sit together, is that you're providing some very valuable guidance for those non-observable, if you like, behaviors. And I guess we'll find out from the analytics if someone isn't posting or isn't contributing, and we might find that no one is asking questions and no one is answering questions.
Yeah.
We can find out there might be that lack of permission being given to
That's
collaborate.
right. And look, we have a fairly old school method of measuring those behaviours. We kind of list a composite set of behaviours, and just how well are we doing at this?
Yes.
You know, and the managers and team leaders
Yes.
can measure that. And then once we have that information, and we have, say, information that can be provided, you know, say from SWOOP, we then have a framework to go back and to say, okay, which of those behaviours do we need to work on in order to lift the collaborative behaviours and what's actually happening, you know, across our network.
Now that brings me then to one of my probably not the final, one of the final questions. So the 2 things. So who will get the most out of reading this book? I think I know, but I'll let you explain. But who gets the most out of reading this book? Who is it intended for?
The core audience really are, I guess, decision makers and managers. Pardon me. It's not really a how-to for people who are just, I guess, working in teams. It's really for those people who are managing teams and also a little higher up the structure, just to give them a handle, a way to get into a collaborative culture and work with their people. So that's the main audience, I think, for the book.
And of course, where do people get it? Do they buy it, or where is it? How do they get their copy of it?
It's the Enosis website.
Yes.
We have a page.
Yeah.
Think about it on the Enosis website, and we have an e-commerce site set up, so it's self-published, and we will be selling it online, but in hardback. And
all right. Fantastic. Well, I can highly recommend that you jump on the Enosis website. We're putting a link here on the video to it. Jump on there, get your copy of the book. With a bit of luck, we might get Alister to sign us a copy of it. Who knows?
We can organise that.
Can organise that. And we'd love to hear from you about the lessons learned you've had with following some or all of the guidance that Alister and Andrew provide in their book.
Yeah, I would just add that we're going to have a discussion forum on the site to have discussions.
Yes, I think
so
that's
maybe
a brilliant
people can talk about it.
So we could be collaborating.
We can be collaborating.
That'd be nice. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.